The moment Amanda Reeves, manager of Galaxy Games Arcade, canceled a 9-year-old boy's birthday token package because his father wore a MAGA hat was the exact moment her career imploded. Standing behind her prize counter, clipboard in hand, Amanda had no idea the quiet man in the red cap had just finalized the purchase of the entire arcade chain. Security cameras captured it all. 1 minute, Amanda was smugly explaining appropriate arcade attire policy to a confused father and his teary-eyed son. The next, she was being escorted to the back office by corporate security. 6 years of climbing the arcade management ladder, demolished by a single misguided power trip. The most painful part wasn't the termination meeting, it was the boy's face as his tokens were confiscated. Pure confusion transforming into humiliation, all because Amanda couldn't see past a hat to the child's special day. Let's see exactly how this manager's self-righteous stand against headwear led to her spectacular fall. Tuesday afternoons at Galaxy Games Arcade were typically slow, the calm before the after-school rush. Amanda Reeves moved through the dimly lit gaming floor, straightening prize displays and wiping fingerprints from screens. At 31, she ran this location with meticulous attention to detail, every flashing light and electronic chime under her supervision. Amanda had worked her way up from token attendant to assistant manager, and finally to general manager over 6 dedicated years. Corporate recognized her talent for organization, her knack for increasing revenue, and her ability to maintain order even on the arcade's most chaotic weekend nights. The promotion to regional supervisor seemed within reach. "Hey Amanda, we need more change at Station 2, called Tyler, one of the college students who worked part-time at the token counter. Amanda nodded sharply, retrieving the key ring from her belt with practiced efficiency. Every aspect of arcade operations reflected her standards, precise, controlled, and by the book. The afternoon proceeded with clockwork predictability until the doors swung open at 3:15. A man entered with a young boy bouncing excitedly beside him. Nothing about them particularly stood out at first, just another parent bringing a child for some afternoon entertainment. Until Amanda noticed the bright red MAGA hat on the father's head. Something inside Amanda tightened at the sight of that hat. In her mind, it represented values counter to everything the diverse, inclusive environment of Galaxy Games was supposed to embody. She watched as the pair approached the token counter, the boy practically vibrating with excitement. "We have a birthday reservation," the father said to Tyler, his voice friendly. "Under Mercer, the ultimate package?" Tyler checked his tablet and nodded, smiling at the boy. "Happy birthday. That's 500 tokens, unlimited play on the simulator games, and a prize credit bonus. Let me get your wristbands." The boy, 9 years old according to the reservation details flashing on Tyler's screen, grinned widely. "Dad says I can stay for 3 whole hours, and I get to pick any prize I want, even the big ones." His enthusiasm was infectious, making even Tyler laugh as he prepared their package. Amanda continued to observe from near the prize counter, her attention fixed not on the excited birthday boy, but on the father's hat. She'd never explicitly banned political apparel from the arcade. There was no formal policy against it, but she'd always prided herself on maintaining a neutral family environment. As Tyler handed over the token cups and wristbands, Amanda made her decision. She approached the counter, professional smile firmly in place. "Excuse me, sir," she said, addressing the father. "Could I speak with you for a moment?" Her tone was polite, but left no room for refusal. The father looked surprised, but nodded. "Sure." He turned to his son. "Ethan, why don't you check out that racing game over there while I talk to the manager? I'll be right there." The boy, Ethan, nodded and darted off toward a neon-lit driving simulator, token cup clutched in both hands. Once Ethan was out of earshot, Amanda's smile became more fixed. "Sir, I need to address your hat," she said quietly. Galaxy Games strives to create an environment where all our guests feel comfortable, regardless of political affiliation. Your hat could be seen as a political statement that might make others uncomfortable. The father blinked, clearly taken aback. "My hat?" He reached up as if to confirm it was still there. "It's just a cap. I'm not starting any political discussions or causing problems." Amanda noticed his accent then. Slight but distinctive, Midwestern perhaps, definitely not local. "Nevertheless," Amanda continued, "I must ask you to remove it while inside our establishment. We have a family-friendly atmosphere to maintain." This was a stretch of truth at best. No such policy existed in the employee handbook. But Amanda felt justified in the moment, certain she was protecting her arcade's values. The father studied Amanda's face for a moment, his expression more puzzled than angry. "This seems unusual," he said mildly. "I've never been asked to remove a hat at an arcade before. Is this an official policy? Because my son is really looking forward to his birthday celebration." Amanda straightened slightly, authority settling around her shoulders like a familiar coat. "As general manager, I'm responsible for ensuring all guests have a positive experience. Your hat could prevent that for some patrons." She gestured vaguely at the arcade floor, though no one was paying them any attention. "My son has been talking about this day for weeks," the father said, his voice still calm but with an underlying firmness now. "The hat isn't hurting anyone. It was a gift from my father, who's no longer with us. I'm not here to make political statements. I'm here to celebrate my son's birthday." The personal detail about the hat being a memorial gift snagged at Amanda's certainty, but she'd committed to this course of action now. "I understand, but I must insist. You can check the hat at the counter, remove it, or unfortunately, we'll need to cancel your reservation and issue a refund." The father's calmness seemed to falter slightly, genuine concern crossing his features. "You'd cancel a child's birthday celebration over a hat? He's been counting down the days." He glanced over at Ethan, who was happily feeding tokens into the racing game, blissfully unaware of the conversation. "It's your choice, sir," Amanda replied, unmoved. "I'm simply enforcing our standards." The lie about non-existent policy came easily now, smoothed by her conviction that she was in the right. "What would you like to do?" Her tone made it clear she expected compliance, not continued discussion. The father took a deep breath, visibly weighing his options. "Can I speak with your supervisor? This seems excessive for a child's birthday party. We drove over an hour to get here." Amanda felt a flash of irritation at the challenge to her authority, her expression cooling further. "I'm the general manager of this location," she said, with professional crispness. "My decision is final." She didn't mention that her district manager was currently on vacation, or that the corporate office typically deferred to on-site management for day-to-day operations. "So what will it be, Mr. Mercer?" Another glance at his son, who had just won his race and was looking around for his father to share the victory. The man's shoulders slumped slightly. "I'll check the hat, then," he said quietly. "But I want to register that I think this is ridiculous and unfair." Amanda nodded, professional mask firmly in place. "Tyler will hold it at the counter for you. Thank you for your cooperation." The words were automatic, the customer service script she'd performed countless times. She watched as the father reluctantly removed the red cap and handed it to Tyler. "Enjoy your son's celebration," Amanda added, already turning away. Problem solved in her mind. Another potential disruption to the arcade's harmony averted. She'd done her job by enforcing standards, maintaining the environment she believed her customers expected. At least, that's what she told herself. For the next hour, Amanda kept one eye on the Mercers as she went about her duties. The father seemed to have moved past the hat incident, fully engaged in his son's birthday fun. They were racing side by side on zombie shooter games, Ethan's laughter audible even over the arcade's constant electronic symphony. Just after 4:30, Amanda noticed a disturbance at the token counter. Ethan was there with his cup, now empty, speaking to Tyler. Amanda moved closer, catching the end of the conversation. "But Dad said the ultimate package comes with 500 tokens. I've only used like 200. Tyler looked uncomfortable, glancing at his tablet. "I know, but it says here your package has been downgraded to the basic tier. That's only 200 tokens. I'm sorry, but that's what the system is showing me now." Ethan's face fell, confusion clouding his excitement. "But it's my birthday," he said, his voice small. Amanda stepped in smoothly, having made this executive decision during her rounds. If the father wouldn't voluntarily leave over the hat issue, perhaps a diminished experience would encourage their early departure. It wasn't personal, she told herself, just maintaining standards. "There seems to be a misunderstanding," Amanda explained to the boy, her tone professionally regretful. "The ultimate package has certain dress code requirements. Since your father had to check an item, the system automatically adjusted your reservation tier. It's policy. Another fabrication, another boundary pushed. Ethan's lower lip trembled slightly. But what about my prize? Dad said with the ultimate package, I could get one of the big prizes, like the robot dinosaur. His eyes darted to the premium prize shelf where a mechanical T-Rex sat on display, its price tag well beyond the basic package prize credit. I'm afraid those are only available with the ultimate tier, Amanda said, avoiding eye contact with the increasingly upset child. But we have plenty of great options in the basic range. She gestured to a shelf of smaller items, plastic jewelry, tiny stuffed animals, candy packages, worthless trinkets compared to the premium prizes. That's not fair, Ethan said, tears welling in his eyes. We paid for the big package. Dad showed me the email confirmation. It's my birthday. His voice cracked on the last word, the special day rapidly deteriorating around him for reasons he couldn't possibly understand. What's going on here? The father had approached, noticing his son's distress. Amanda straightened, manufacturing an expression of professional concern. Just explaining our package tier policies, Mr. Mercer. Due to the dress code adjustment, your reservation defaulted to our basic package. Dress code adjustment? The father's confusion quickly shifted to realization. You mean my hat? You downgraded my son's birthday package because of my hat, which I've already agreed to check at the counter? His voice remained controlled, but a dangerous edge had crept in. That wasn't mentioned when I complied. Amanda adopted her most reasonable tone. Our premium experiences come with certain expectations, sir. It's all in the terms and conditions. This was an outright lie. No such clause existed, but Amanda was too committed to her course now. I'd be happy to refund the price difference before you leave. The father stared at her, disbelief evident in every feature. You're punishing a 9-year-old child because you don't like his father's hat, a hat I'm not even wearing right now. Do you understand how absurd that sounds? How cruel. Each word was measured, controlled, but with undeniable force behind it. Ethan was fully crying now, clutching his empty token cup. Dad, what about my dinosaur? You promised. The heartbreak in his voice finally pierced Amanda's self-righteousness, sending a flicker of doubt through her certainty. Was she going too far? But backing down now would undermine her authority. I'm sorry, but the decision is final, Amanda said, her voice cooler than she'd intended. Policy is policy. She'd invoked that shield so many times in her career that it came automatically now, even when the policy existed only in her imagination. If you'd like to speak with corporate, their contact information is on our website. Something shifted in the father's expression then. Not anger, surprisingly, but a calm resolve that somehow felt more dangerous. Yes, he said quietly. I think I will contact corporate. In fact, I'll do that right now. He pulled out his phone, his movements deliberate and unhurried. Dad, can we just go? Ethan asked, wiping tears with his sleeve. I don't want to be here anymore. The defeat in the child's voice should have been Amanda's victory, the problematic customers choosing to leave, but instead it left a sour taste in her mouth. This didn't feel like enforcing policy. It felt personal. Petty. Just one moment, buddy, the father said gently. I need to make a quick call. He stepped away slightly, phone to his ear, his back to Amanda. Whatever victory Amanda might have felt was rapidly evaporating, replaced by an uneasy feeling she couldn't quite identify. Something about the father's calm confidence was unsettling. The call was brief. When the father returned, his expression was impassive. The robot dinosaur, he said to Amanda, his voice level. My son will be getting it today, along with the full ultimate package we paid for. And you will personally ensure this happens, immediately. The shift in tone, the absolute certainty in the man's voice, caught Amanda off guard. Sir, as I've explained, the package tier is non-negotiable once adjusted. I understand you're upset, but... The father cut her off with a raised hand, a gesture of such quiet authority that Amanda actually fell silent. My name is David Mercer, the father said. As of last week, I am the new owner of the Stellar Entertainment Group, which, as you may know, recently acquired the entire Galaxy Games arcade chain. This was meant to be an incognito visit to experience our newest property as regular customers. The words hit Amanda like a physical blow. New owner? Stellar Entertainment? The acquisition had been rumored for months, but staff had been told it was still in negotiation. Her mind raced, trying to process the implications. I wasn't informed of any ownership changes, she managed weakly. Clearly, David Mercer replied, his tone unchanged. The formal announcement goes out tomorrow. I wanted to see how our locations treat everyday customers before meeting with management teams. It's been, he paused, an illuminating experience so far. The understatement hung in the air between them. Amanda felt the ground shifting beneath her feet, professional confidence crumbling into horror. She just fabricated policies to punish a child because of his father's hat, a father who now owned the entire company. Mr. Mercer, I can explain, she began, but David shook his head slightly, cutting her off. I'm not interested in explanations right now, he said. My priority is salvaging my son's birthday. So here's what's going to happen. You will immediately restore our ultimate package with full benefits. You will personally add an extra 100 tokens to my son's cup, and you will ensure he gets that robot dinosaur. Unable to form words, Amanda nodded, turning to Tyler, who had been watching the exchange with wide eyes. Restore the Mercer reservation to ultimate status, she said, her voice hollow, and add an additional 100 tokens. Tyler nodded quickly, fingers already tapping at his tablet screen. And the prize? David prompted, his hand resting protectively on Ethan's shoulder. The boy looked confused by the sudden change in circumstances, his tears forgotten in the face of this unexpected turn of events. Amanda swallowed hard, professional mask slipping further with each passing second. Of course, she managed. I'll get it from the display case immediately. She moved on autopilot to the premium prize section, unlocking the glass case where the coveted robot dinosaur sat. Each movement felt mechanical, her mind still reeling from the revelation. Owner. She'd tried to kick out the owner. Over a hat. Returning with the box toy, Amanda handed it to Ethan with a forced smile. Here you go. Happy birthday. The words sounded wooden even to her own ears. Ethan took the box cautiously, looking to his father for confirmation that this sudden reversal was real and not another disappointment waiting to happen. Thank you, David said to Amanda, his voice neutral. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like my hat back. Then my son and I will continue his birthday celebration. There was no triumph in his tone, no gloating, just the measured certainty of someone who expected to be obeyed. Amanda nodded, thoroughly defeated. Tyler quickly retrieved the red cap from beneath the counter, handing it to David with an apologetic smile. He placed it back on his head without comment, then turned his attention fully to Ethan. Let's go try out that spaceship simulator you were excited about, buddy, he said, his voice warming again. As father and son walked away, Amanda heard Ethan ask, Dad, why was that lady being so mean about your lucky hat? And why is she being nice now? David's response was too quiet to catch, but the question itself was like a knife twisting in Amanda's conscience. A child had seen through all her professional pretense. Amanda stood frozen by the prize counter, watching them return to their games. The arcade continued its normal operations around her, flashing lights, electronic sounds, children laughing. But everything felt different now. Her carefully constructed authority, her belief in her own professional righteousness, lay in shambles at her feet. Amanda? It was Tyler, approaching cautiously. There's a call for you on line 1. It's Ms. Martinez from corporate. His expression conveyed everything words couldn't. This wasn't a coincidence. The new owner had made more than one call during his brief step away. The walk to her office felt like a death march. Amanda's mind raced through possible defenses, explanations, apologies, none of which seemed adequate for what she'd done. She hadn't just been unprofessional, she'd been cruel to a child over her own political biases, and she'd been caught red-handed by the new owner. Closing her office door, Amanda took a deep breath before picking up the phone. Amanda Reeves speaking, she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. The response from the other end was brief but devastating. Miss Reeves, this is Elena Martinez, VP of Operations. I need you to listen carefully. The conversation lasted less than 5 minutes. No arguments, no defense opportunities, just clear instructions delivered in a tone that brooked no discussion. When Amanda hung up, her hands were shaking slightly. It was over. 6 years at Galaxy Games ended because of a red hat and her own misplaced righteousness. You have until closing to gather your personal belongings, Ms. Martinez had told her. Your assistant manager will handle operations for the remainder of the day. We'll announce your departure as a resignation, provided you leave quietly. Mr. Mercer was very clear about what happened today, and frankly, I'm disappointed. Amanda sat at her desk, surrounded by the trappings of the authority she'd so jealously guarded. Plaques for performance achievements, photos from company events, the custom nameplate she'd ordered when first promoted to general manager. All meaningless now. All lost because she couldn't see past a political symbol. A knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. It was Jamie, her assistant manager, looking uncomfortable but determined. "Miss Martinez called me," he said simply. "I'm supposed to take over for the rest of the day. She said you'd explain." The unspoken question hung in the air between them. "I made a mistake," Amanda admitted, the words unfamiliar in her mouth. "A serious one. I let personal bias affect professional judgment." The admission felt both inadequate and overwhelming. "I've been asked to leave immediately." Saying it aloud made it real in a way the phone call hadn't quite managed. Jamie's expression shifted from confusion to realization. "The guy in the red hat? With the birthday kid?" Word traveled fast in the arcade's employee grapevine. Amanda nodded, unable to meet her colleague's eyes. "He's the new owner," she confirmed quietly, "and I tried to ruin his son's birthday over a hat." The silence that followed was worse than any condemnation. Amanda began mechanically emptying her desk drawers, placing personal items into a cardboard box from the supply closet. 6 years of career building, dismantled in less than an hour, all because she couldn't separate personal politics from professional responsibilities. "For what it's worth," Jamie finally said, "I think you've been a good manager in a lot of ways. Organized, efficient, but sometimes you were so focused on rules that you forgot about people." It was perhaps the most honest performance review Amanda had ever received, delivered as she was clearing out her office. By 6 o'clock, Amanda's office was empty of personal touches, her box sealed with packing tape borrowed from the prize counter. She'd changed out of her manager's polo shirt into a plain blouse kept in her locker for emergencies. Her key card and ID badge sat on the desk, ready for her successor. As she prepared to leave through the employee entrance, avoiding the main arcade floor and the Mercers, Tyler caught her by the break room. "They're still here," he said quietly. "The dad and his son. They've been playing games for hours. The kid looks really happy now." The simple observation felt like a final judgment. "Good," Amanda managed, surprised to find she meant it. "At least something positive came out of today." She hesitated, then added, "When they leave, please tell Mr. Mercer I'm sorry for everything." The words felt insufficient, but they were all she had left to offer, a meaningless apology to a man she'd never see again. Tyler studied her for a moment, then nodded. "I will." He hesitated, then added, "You know, that hat meant something different to him than it did to you. It was his dad's. A memory, not just a political statement." The gentle rebuke cut deeper than any shouting could have. Amanda nodded, unable to respond. Stepping out into the evening air, box of belongings in her arms, Amanda felt strangely exposed. No arcade noise, no authority, no certainty about what came next. Her car sat alone in the far corner of the employee section, a fitting metaphor for her sudden isolation from the workplace that had defined her for so long. As she loaded the box into her trunk, Amanda heard the main doors of the arcade open. Instinctively, she ducked behind her car, not ready to face David Mercer or his son again. Through the gap between vehicles, she could see them leaving, Ethan clutching his robot dinosaur box, apparently demonstrating its features to his father. The boy was smiling broadly, bouncing with each step, his birthday celebration evidently a success despite Amanda's attempts to derail it. David Mercer listened attentively to his son's excited chatter, one hand resting on the boy's shoulder, the red cap still firmly on his head, a symbol that meant something entirely different to its wearer. Watching them cross the parking lot, Amanda felt a hollowness that had nothing to do with losing her job. She'd been so certain of her rightness, so convinced her view was the only valid one, that she'd been willing to disappoint a child to make her point. The realization was more painful than the professional consequences. 3 weeks later, Amanda sat across from an interviewer at a retail management position, explaining the gap in her employment history. "I left Galaxy Games after a disagreement about customer service approaches," she said carefully. "It was a valuable learning experience about putting people before policies." The words weren't just interview speak. They reflected a genuine realization that had formed during endless hours of self-reflection. Amanda had spent years building systems, enforcing rules, maintaining order, but somewhere along the way, she'd forgotten the human element. She'd forgotten to see individuals behind symbols. She didn't get that job or the next one. Word had spread in the local entertainment industry about the manager who'd been fired for discriminating against the new owner's child. Some versions of the story were exaggerated, others diminished, but all carried the same core truth. Amanda had put politics before professionalism. It was a month later, scrolling through local news, that Amanda saw the announcement about Galaxy Games' new community initiative. Under its new ownership, the arcade chain was launching a Games for All program, ensuring children from all backgrounds could celebrate birthdays there, regardless of financial circumstances. The article included a photo of David Mercer and Ethan at the launch event, cutting a ribbon in front of the flagship location, the very arcade Amanda had managed. There was no red hat this time, just a father and son smiling together, transforming a negative experience into something positive for other children. Amanda stared at the image for a long time, emotions cycling through her, regret, shame, but also a strange sense of resolution. Her mistake, her moment of letting personal bias override professional responsibility, had ultimately led to something constructive. It didn't excuse what she'd done, but it offered a small comfort. 2 days later, an email appeared in Amanda's inbox with a subject line that made her heart skip. "Regarding your former position at Galaxy Games." It was from Elena Martinez at corporate. With trembling fingers, she opened it, expecting perhaps a request for additional exit paperwork or confirmation of her non-disclosure agreement. Instead, she found a brief message. "Mr. Mercer suggested I reach out to you. While your position has been filled, we have an opening in staff training. The role focuses on customer service ethics and inclusive business practices. Given your first-hand understanding of why these matter, Mr. Mercer thought you might offer a valuable perspective." Amanda read the email 3 times, certain she'd misunderstood. They were offering her another chance? After what she'd done? The position wasn't management, it was several steps down from her former role. But it was something. A path back. Not to where she'd been, but to somewhere perhaps more important. The final paragraph explained more. This position involves sharing real experiences of how bias can impact customer service and teaching staff to recognize and overcome their own biases. Mr. Mercer believes in second chances and learning from mistakes. If you're interested, please call me to discuss further. As Amanda reached for her phone, she was struck by the irony. The man whose hat had represented everything she opposed, whose political symbol had triggered such a strong reaction, was offering her redemption. Not because they now agreed politically, but because they shared something more fundamental. The belief that people could learn and grow. 3 months later, Amanda stood before a group of new Galaxy Games employees, sharing the story of a birthday boy, a red hat, and a manager who couldn't see past her own biases. "I thought I was taking a principled stand," she told them. "But principles that hurt innocent children aren't principles worth having. Our job isn't to judge the symbols people wear, it's to see the human being underneath them." The words weren't just a training script, they were the most valuable lesson of her career. What do you think? How would you have handled this situation if it were you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share if this story resonated with you.